doing what we call an infoboxing. So this, rather than unboxing a game and just showing you what's in the box, we are packing everything back into the box whilst talking about it and how it impacts the game. So today we're looking at Starcadia Quest, which is one of the new to retail CMON games. It is obviously based on Arcadia Quest. I'll just get rid of the lid for now and pop the box down as we talk through what the components are and how you will use them in Starcadia Quest. This is actually quite a good insert in here. It comes with quite a good layout, so I'll show you. This is the retail version, so this is what you will get if you buy Starcadia Quest from retail. So the first thing you have is, at the bottom of the box is your tray of minis. You have your heroes and your aliens, and the aliens come in different types. So you have your kind of troopers that you have multiple 4 copies of each. You have some of your heavies up here, and then you have a lieutenant there for the boss, and Thorn himself is the final boss. So Starcadia Quest does have a very loose campaign that works very well. In the early games you're going to be seeing more of the trooper figures, which are kind of generic ones, and then as you get later on into the harder parts of the campaign you're going to see more of these boss type characters. Then you have your heroes, each of which has a card, and that gives them their own kind of powers, as well as you being able to assign weapons to them. So you can see these are great minis, they look fantastic, and you will be teaming up a team of 2, not 3, as in Arcadia Quest. So that is new and different, and makes the game a little bit more streamlined than Arcadia Quest itself. We played the first mission, my son and I, and very much enjoyed it. He absolutely whooped my butt by getting 15 victory points to my puny 7. So if you've not played Arcadia Quest before, or if you have, there are some slight differences. It is a you're doing objectives, so there's usually a few objectives for each level, and completing those gets you the chance to kind of finish the level. What's new in Starcadia Quest over Arcadia Quest is these events. So just separate out the events for me all. Events are drawn after every player's go, and they dictate a number of things. So for example, we would know that this player could control this type of enemy, which I'll come on to later on, and then they can choose 2 different computer terminals and place 1 point token on each one. So for example, you might get another one lets you control this level 2 trooper. So when we talk about control, you're using them as you would a hero, move and attack. Choose the type of monster. The next time a player kills that monster, the player gains +1 point. So these events are really nice. They add a little bit to the game. You also, under the events, have your dice, which have your melee and ranged hits on. There's no defensive dice in this one. They also have your explosive symbol. So if you roll one of these, you take a hit, you give a hit, and then you roll again. And then they have your defensive symbol, which is only found on one side next to the melee. So the cards all nicely fit in there. Then we have our hero cards. So we have all our stats, how many dice they roll in defense. Attack is down to the equipment that they have, so you can't attack with a hero unless you have equipment attached. You have your health, and if the target has no wounds, she does not exhaust her weapon, which is important because exhausting your weapons is a big part of Starcadia Quest. When you use something, in general, you exhaust it, and then you have to rest to unexhaust it. When using a portal, Starkid may choose to teleport to another portal of any colour, very useful for getting round. And then my son's favourite is the walking carpet. that doesn't have any special powers but has 5 hearts and 3 defense dice. And then you have the various different enemies. They come in trooper, officer, and villain levels. So, start with the troopers, the Weeble, the Octocold, Scuttlebutt, and Peekaboom. Again, they all have, similarly to the heroes, a defense and a special, but they actually have a type of attack. So these guys can only do ranged attacks and the amount of dice rolled. They don't get to use equipment like the heroes do. And their backs tell you which colour they are, and you'll place them on a board, and when you turn over an event, that dictates which one you're going to be using. Octocruel, Ice Heart, Peek Around. You notice none of these have stats. The villain does have stats, but these officers all have the same stats. Troopers all have the same stats, which is on the villain board. So here we see the Big Bad, and again, all those cards fit nicely in here. In here we have the coloured bases for the game underneath, and we have the quests and the setups for each level. So rather than having a separate book with the scenarios in, you have this. So it tells you to use 4 map pieces, and they could be any map pieces. So the scenario is not always set up the same, and then some specific for that that map. And then you have Quest 1, which must be completed before Quest 2. They have to be completed in order. When all the PvE quests, or player versus environment quests, are done, then you can finish the round as long as someone has done a player versus player quest. Player versus player quests are always to kill a player of another colour, basically. So you see this has 2A, 2B, so there's another level there, and so on and so forth. So quests are linked to levels, but also you have at the back, you have your PvP quests, which, as I said, are just to kill one player of another team. And that's how you get points. And when all the PvE quests have been completed, and at least one PvP quest, that's when the level ends. So this all fits into here, and then the next level of the insert is this rather cool, and the first time I've seen CMON, Cool Mini or Not do it, Come On, as they're called now, oh, have we frozen? Are we going to get it back? If we're not, I've got a spare camera set up, ready to go. Let's give it... Sorry folks, that interruption, we lost connection, so I just took the chance to change over cameras as well. So we were just onto the second level of the Starcadia Quest box, which contains all the tokens you're going to need. Here you have your door tokens. These can be locked or unlocked, and it takes a movement point to unlock them. You have your portal tokens here. So in general, you can only go to a portal of another colour. And these are your starting bays. So you will start, your different coloured teams will start from these, which are placed around the edge of the map. Then you have a wedge of maps, single-sided this time. Usually they are double-sided, but they are bigger than the 3x3 that came in Arcadia Quest. On the maps, you see a couple of things, built-in portals, which can be added to with the tokens. You have spawn points for the enemies, and every map board will have a computer terminal. Here, this is a special feature of this map, which is a armory. The other thing maps might have on them is spaces for pickups. So you just put the relevant token of that type onto there, or points. So here we have a number of yellow portals, a blue one, and a red spawn point. That room is inaccessible unless you teleport into it. Have the computer terminal again. And computer terminals are often influenced by the events that you draw at the end of the round. Because you'll have to spawn in characters via them. This one's just a corridor, but again, we have some power-ups, and so on and so forth. So you can either pick those randomly, you can have each player pick a couple, whatever you want, really. The power-ups we're talking about are here. We have what was this one? This is a, get a bit closer there, a one that affects your movement. We didn't use any of those in the scenario we played. That's a health pack. And then we have the ability to refresh a piece of equipment. So there's only three very basic ones. And then the other thing you can pick up around the edge of the board is point tokens. And you have an absolute load of those here. So they all fit in, and they're just tight enough there. You see, I haven't got these full, but they are tight enough that they stay put. And there's a plastic lid for this, so it works super well. Then you have these objective tokens. Sometimes you'll have an objective on the map. They come in different colors, and if you use them on the other side, they can track any of the quests for you if there's a quest that needs tracking. Lastly, we have your health and wound tokens here. These get placed on your player boards, which we will look at after the last bit. And then you have the upgrades. In Arcadia Quest, upgrades are all cards. Now we have these tokens, and they come in various types. They have starter ones, level 1, level 2, level 3, armory tokens, and then reward ones. And they're all got this little code down the side, really simple. And you can get them at various points in the game. Reds are weapons, greens are boosts, so you can use a weapon and your boosts. So here, if we use the Sonic Nunchucks, we get 3 dice, attack dice to use. There, a bonus ability, and we could use the Iron Fists to boost that by another dice, so we'd attack with 4 dice. But we would then turn those over and they would be exhausted until we had a way to unexhaust them, which generally comes through resting. There are also some blue ones, which are don't exhaust. They give you their powers all the time. So this one gives you a reroll and an extra defensive dice. And I believe in this pile there are some yellow ones. Here we have a Bubble Boy 3000, which the attacker suffers 1 wound after the attack. So that one would exhaust as well. So there's a nice variety in these. As you can see, they all fit in this insert here. And I just pop these 4 on top of here. Then we have, what did I do with it there? The plastic lid. So all of that is not going anywhere. The pods move around a little bit, but that is not very much at all. Then we have the rulebook, just one rulebook. It is probably a little long for what the game is. I think the game is simpler than the rulebook makes out, but there's lots of examples, and now I can basically go off the back there. Next, we come to the player boards. So you will have 1, 2 heroes. You'll have 6 spots for upgrades, and this is just a place to keep any of your tokens that you get during the game. When, as a hero, you move and then attack, or attack then move, and then if you have exhausted all your, or a great majority of your things, you can rest instead of taking an active turn, which lets you flip over any exhausted tokens for both heroes. So when you rest and when you move is really important. Also important is the villain board. This one your scenario will dictate which ones go out there, or if you can randomly decide them. And for your troopers and officers, it gives you their basic health and how many points you get for defeating them. The villain does have a point limit, but it is all his health stats come on there. This one in the skull is an overkill. If you overkill a villain or a trooper or an officer, they don't get to attack you back, but you must do all that damage in 1 attack, even if they're already wounded. So let's say I have a trooper card here. It's only got 2 health. I roll 1 hit on 1 turn, and then I come back to attack it again on the next turn. I have to roll all 4 damage in that 1 attack to do the overkill and not have it attack me back. So that is the trooper thing. And then lastly, you have a little pad that can keep track of the campaign for you, double-sided. Obviously, you can just laminate these to make them last a bit longer. your crew name, you can save what equipment they have, etc., etc. It's not going to be that difficult to save what they have, even if you didn't have that. A piece of paper would do. So that is the retail version of CMON's Starcadia Quest, and this has been a Zatu Infoboxing. If you enjoyed it, please let us know. If you'd like to see us do more infoboxing, if you'd like to have different types of information displayed, whatever you want, please do let us know. Remember, Zatu is now selling video games, so if you like video games and think you could write or do YouTube videos about video games, then please do get in contact with us on our website via the Write For Us tab at the bottom of the page. As normal, subscribe and like to all our social media channels for more content like this. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.